Hi guys. Thanks for coming. I don't know where everyone is. Maybe the good weather's dragged them off to the bar a bit early. My name's Simon Mitchell and I'm the Managing Director of Kerb Food. Has anyone heard of Kerb? Quite a small company, no? So we run street food markets in London and we're just starting to branch out further afield. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we started and our journey to where we are today, how we've created an ecosystem around our traders and the street food community in London, and then tell you a little bit about some of the dishes that our traders are inventing and the stories behind them. And then very briefly, we'll touch on what I think is next for street food. And there'll probably be some time for any questions at the end as well, if anyone's got anything they want to ask. So and if anyone wants to, there's only a few of us, if anyone wants to ask anything as we go, just stick your hand up and I'll answer. Okay, so Kerb was started 7 years ago by this lady here. Her name's Petra Barron. If you're interested in all this, she's done a TED Talk. You just Google Petra Barron TED Talk. It's fascinating about street food and food. So she started as a chef and she was on luxury yachts around the Mediterranean and got a bit sick of people slagging off the food in England. And to be fair, back then it had a pretty awful reputation. And came back to London and loved kind of travelling, bit of a hippie, bought an ice cream van and turned it into Chocstar. And this was a mobile street food van that went around selling delicious chocolates, hot chocolate, chocolate-coated bananas, all kind of weird and wonderful things. And 7, 8 years ago, street food in the UK wasn't that regulated. You could pitch up pretty much anywhere. The only people she used to get in trouble with were the kind of ice cream mafia. But loved it and traded and enjoyed it and met some great people doing some great things with some great food. However, it was completely unregulated. And I think the summer of 2009 maybe, she was booked to do a festival with some other amazing street food traders, and a week before they had an email saying the festival had been cancelled, and naive Petra called up to get her deposit back and found out that they'd actually gone bust and there was no way she was getting her deposit back. She's like, this can't be, you know, people are taking advantage of us. If we all get together, we're going to be stronger as a community. So she got everyone together, as she does, and formed a company called Eat Street, which was just a collective of amazing street food traders in the UK, and she would get them together and they'd collectively bargain to get better rates for festivals and pitches and whatever else. And very quickly, Argent, who are a big developer, offered Eat Street the chance to trade 3 days a week at King's Cross. And this is, I don't know if anyone's been to King's Cross recently, it's incredible, but this is like before there was anything there. So this is like the hoardings, there was nothing, it was a building site. And we were the only people doing food back then. So Eat Street traded 3 days a week and various other opportunities popped up from that, and it was getting a lot of attention, and street food's becoming very cool in London during this time. And Petra realises there's a business here and I can make some money out of this. So she formed Kerb. So moving it from a collective to a business where she could generate profits, and they threw a big party under West Handyside Canopy in King's Cross with some great names. And if anyone's from England, some of these people have gone on to some really big things, Pizza Pilgrims, Bleecker Burger, you know, they have restaurant chains around London now. And Kerb was born, and it was born with this 3-day-a-week lunch market in King's Cross. Very quickly it got a lot of attention. There were some people doing some really innovative, exciting food, and more opportunities cropped up. So next one was in Moorgate in the city, then the Gherkin, where we still trade today outside the Gherkin every Thursday. It's incredible. From the minute we open at 11:30 till 2 o'clock, there's queues a mile long, and an incredibly popular market. Even though there's tons of kind of fast casual food around there, people will come out in their droves in the rain all year long to get some street food here. Then we opened in Paddington. The developer from King's Cross moved to Paddington, wanted a bit of Kerb there, so we still trade there every other Wednesday, 14 traders in this amazing auditorium. And then we opened in Canary Wharf. So this is a place called Wood Wharf, which is now being developed, where you can see the queues. And I still find this a phenomenon. So we've now moved to a place called West India Quay, which is just outside Canary Wharf, and you have to cross a bridge to get there. And most of these city folk in their suits will get annoyed if they're queuing for a minute in a pret-a-manger in the morning, but will regularly cross the bridge to come to our market and queue for 20 minutes for some fried chicken. It's beyond belief. We now trade there 4 days a week. We're still there, and where there were some quite low-end restaurant operators now, you have Burger and Lobster, Pizza Pilgrims, some really nice high-end bars. So the developer there, Landsec, loves us because we were kind of proof of concept for them that you can sell food in this area and people will come and enjoy it. So at the same time as all the markets are growing, the way people go out is changing, and people want experiences, and the kind of nightclub scene's dying a little bit in bars, and they want food and drink, and really good quality food and drink when they go out. So we started putting on events. So if you didn't work or live near one of our lunch markets, you couldn't get Kerb street food. There wasn't anywhere to get it. So the first events we did were on Saturdays in Granary Square in King's Cross, as the site starts to get a bit developed now. And it's a 20 trader market with a bar. And that was a big change for us, bringing in alcohol and selling drinks. So this was our first public event. We then got brought into Peckham. So this is a building that's very popular now called the Bussey Building. But back then, no one went there. It wasn't kind of a cool place to hang out. And we threw a huge party there for a developer, got in a lot of trouble. Haven't been back to Peckham since, but it was great fun. We set up the South Bank Market for the South Bank Centre on the South Bank. Ran that for a short period of time, and then South Bank took it back in-house to manage themselves. It's an incredible market still, but we go back there every year. The South Bank use us to curate their Alchemy Festival. So Alchemy is a South Asian festival that the South Bank Centre curate with arts and entertainment. But obviously, securing that food from around the country is quite a niche thing to do. So we take over for 5 days. It's soon. I think it's the first bank holiday in May if anyone wants to come. For 5 days on the South Bank. So all South Asian traders. So we scour the country for the best and bring them all together for 5 days. It's incredibly popular. We throw a big party every year for our birthday. And then we started to create some IP. We were like, there's something in this. We can create some of our own content. So Noshville was the first one we did, which is a partnership with Maverick Festival, whereby they create the sound, we do the food and drinks, all in kind of a kind of Americana theme. And this is completely free. Granary Square, Friday night, Saturday day, Saturday night, Sunday day, completely free festival. We get about 5,000 people a session to that, weather dependent. And then we put on something called Reggae Roast, which is a similar concept with a Reggae Roast sound system, Caribbean-inspired food and drink, completely free. And about 8,000 people came to this per session. And if we love doing these parties because it's quite a rarity to go to anything that's free anymore. And to turn up and get some of the best street food in London, amazing drinks, huge sound system, great music, all for free is just a wonderful thing to do. So we still do these. We still do 2 or 3 of these parties every year. And this has evolved. We've done a couple of Burns Nights parties that are ticketed, themed food around Scotland, obviously. And we now have created this IP around some brands. So last year we put on 2 events. One was called the Bucket List, and it was a fried chicken battle. So it was £30 a ticket. You got 8 lots of chicken and you voted for your favourite. And then we did the opposite. So we did an event called Living on the Veg, which was a completely vegan event. Both sold out, same concept, vote for your favourite. Got huge press on the back of that and actually gave amazing platforms to some incredible food that I'll tell you about in a minute. So there's a short video, just a bit of fun, highlights of some of our events that I'll show you now. So this was the Reggae Roast. Crowd of people come, follow me, follow me, follow me. Hit name, sweet like sugar, them I say we sweet like sugar, tell a friend them. Sweet like sugar, them I say we sweet like sugar, 001. Sweet like sugar, them I say we sweet like sugar, tell a friend them. Sweet like sugar, them I say we sweet like sugar. Anything we say, no say. So this is one of our birthday parties, and every year we charge the same amount as we are old. So this one was £4, and you got this incredible party. This guy's a magician. If there's time, I'll tell you about him at the end. So this is the fried chicken battle.
Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine. See what I do with my mouth and going down the holy path you know. Oh, Lord. See her dancing, moving round the holy way she knows. Oh, Lord.
So this is the vegan event we did, which we'd never done a vegan event before, completely sold out, millions of pounds worth of press, queues around the box, people trading tickets on ticket sites, which we'd never experienced ever before. It's the biggest thing at the moment in London is vegan food. There's vegan markets everywhere. It's incredible and incredibly creative dishes. This is the last one.
The line, there's no cuts allowed. I can't wait to start hyping up the crowd as I dive through the maze, heading right to the stage. I'ma serve up the mic like a rice bolognese. Smoking hot like Holmes and Rock. Folks are broken off when I blow the spot like soda pop. Once I'm in shaking, I'm the man if I can't be so brazen. Steep in the technique I propel so the people jump up from the seats and the spell and amazing rapport. Anybody can safely afford in the fee that you pay at the door.
So what's really cool about these is we challenge our traders to come up with new dishes. So the guy that won the vegan event had never cooked vegan food before ever. He's a guy, the company's called Patare, and they make arepas. He actually won the fried chicken battle as well, having never made chicken wings before. But the guy's an amazing chef and turns himself to a new dish. He now sells the chicken wings on his stall, and he's got a vegan stall doing amazing vegan food that he'd never done before. At our birthday party, we urged traders to collaborate. So you had people like Bleecker Burger collaborating with Bao, and both of them have kind of gone on from Kerb now and have successful restaurant chains, and then created something together that they go on to sell. And there's a lot of creativity comes out of these things that then kind of translates to the high street. And then, little plug, we're doing a big festival at the end of May, 8,000 people, if anyone fancies a bit of reggae. So we've got these markets, we've got these 6 amazing markets, we're doing all these incredible public events that create a lot of attention, and then corporate clients want a bit of that. So we set up a catering division, and we are delivering street food to corporate catering environments, and it's been hugely successful. We've had 100% year-on-year growth for 3 years now, and we're lucky enough to be listed at some incredible venues as a preferred caterer in London. So the Natural History Museum, we're the first and only street food company to be listed there, Somerset House, the Roundhouse, and we work with amazing companies. So you'd probably expect people like Google and Facebook to use street food, but for the last 2 years we've done all of EY's Christmas parties, 3,500 people a year, street food. And what they get by using us is incredibly innovative, delicious food created by small businesses, food entrepreneurs, and it's a bit cheaper because of the nature of what it is. So we've had a huge, this is a huge business for us, and I'll show you some figures in a minute, but this came about by accident, by the phone ringing and someone saying, can you cater our Christmas party? And it's now, we do £2 million a year of sales just in London for corporate events for food. So it's a big deal for us. And then we had a huge break 18 months ago. We were asked to curate the street food market at Camden Market. And this is a huge step up for us and our traders. So this is 364 days a year, 7 days a week, semi-permanent stall. So this is some of the street food traders getting out of their kind of gazebo or van and starting to run a proper restaurant-style business. It's been an incredible platform for them. It is amazing. We rebuilt it recently. It looks great, I think. It's some of the best street food anywhere in London. And it's actually the second busiest, not because of us, because of Camden Market. It's the second busiest tourist attraction in London after Buckingham Palace. So huge footfall all year round. It's absolutely incredible. And that's been a huge platform for us, but also our traders. And a lot of the people that have come in there have gone into amazing things. That's just another shot of it there. So yeah, a big break for us. We've grown massively from, I started 2 years ago and there were 7 people. There's now 25. We're looking for a new office because we've outgrown that one. And we have a lot of fun. So what is Kerb? So we talk about ourselves as a membership organisation for the best street food traders in London. You have to be a member. Membership's free. We only have 90 members. And they are the best of street food in London, and we are now branching out a bit further than London. That's our big plan for this year. Kerb's going to generate £11 million of sales for street food in London this year, which is a big number. It's not a small business anymore. People talk about street food as a trend. It's not a trend. It's here to stay. It's how people eat. It's how people socialise. It's what they want for their catering at events. We're seeing year-on-year growth across every part of our business in an era where fast casual's having a really tough time. We're thriving, and I think I'll come on to why I think that, but it's variety, it's excitement, it's creativity. And we run six markets, one of them every day, the others are lunch markets for 2 hours, in and out, 3 days a week. One big festival, 5 public events, and £2 million of event catering a year. So that's our kind of business in a nutshell, all from that little chocolate van that started kind of 7 years ago. So we're really riding a wave. For those of you that are interested in the figures, this is our revenue. So this is how our revenue breaks down now, and this is the first year that private events has overtaken market. So we generate 55% of our income from private events and catering, 35%-ish from markets, 8.3 from public events. We don't really do them to make money, we do them because they're great PR. Some of them, if it rains on one of the free events, we can lose a fortune. But we do them because they're fun and they're great PR, and we want to give something back to the city. And other is kind of training and workshop and things. So then the Kerb ecosystem, we're really proud of creating an ecosystem for street food traders that means they can have a secure long-term business, and they don't need to do what lots of people used to do, which was trade for a couple of years, get bored, get tired, borrow a fortune to open a restaurant, give up control of your business, and probably lose a bit of love for it as well. So we've created this ecosystem. So how does it work? First thing is finding new talent. We have over 600 applications a year to trade with Kerb. We only have 90 members, so it's a tough process. People can download, if you're interested, you can download it on our website for free, the Street Food Starter Pack, which tells you everything you need to know about setting up a street food business. We run workshops for potential traders, an evening one that's a couple of hours, and then a full day immersion, which basically teaches you everything you need to know to set up a street food business. Consultations, so one-on-one consultations with business that want to grow or get into street food, and then we have our incubator scheme. The incubator scheme is how we get the new talent. So from those 600, we will pick 10 every quarter, and they will trade every Tuesday at the West India Key Market, and only on a Tuesday. They receive business coaching for us and mentorship from us and from other traders, regular feedback at weekly intervals on how they're doing and how they can improve. And then after those 12 weeks, we either graduate them to become full Kerb members, they can continue in the scheme if we think they're not quite ready, or if we think they're not quite right, we ask them to leave. And we're looking for 3 things. We're looking for creativity, we're looking for something we haven't got, we're looking for quality, very high standard, and we're looking for personality. So you could have the first 2, but if you're not someone we want to work with, we will say no. And then when you graduate, you become a Kerbinist, and that means you can trade at any of our lunchtime markets. Our market managers decide who trades, they know what sells. So something that sells very well in King's Cross won't sell so well in the Gherkin necessarily, and those managers on the ground have that knowledge. They can apply for private catering events, they can apply to trade at our public events, access to our trader comms, and that's probably the best bit about being a Kerb trader is the information sharing. You wouldn't think it with 80 competing businesses, but we're in those channels and they share everything. They share knowledge, they discuss pitch fees for festivals, they lend each other kit, they lend each other staff. It's really an amazing community and they all want each other to thrive. They really help each other. We have a Kerb club, so that was last night, where we get all the traders together for a drink, and again they help each other, they share stories and support each other. And then once a year we run a big day where we outline our plans for the next year and do a bit of training with the traders. And then what's next for them? So you used to have this point where after 2-3 years of setting up your gazebo every day in the rain, you get a bit disillusioned, you get a bit tired, what's next? Maybe I need a restaurant. So Camden is one option. It's basically a restaurant without the capital expenditure. So a lot of them can open a fixed site without any borrowing, which is incredible. We only take 1 month's rent deposit and that's it. So that gives them kind of and there's actually people there that are taking £600,000 a year from a 2x2 metre stall. So it's a big business. If they really do want to open a restaurant, we have an investment vehicle now where we will introduce them to investors we have vetted, that we trust, and that won't take control of their business. I mean, they're free to talk to anyone, but if they want to get investment advice from us, they can. And then we ask them to give back and go back to the start of the cycle and talk at our workshops, mentor a new trader to keep that cycle going. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about some food. Anyone know what this is? Anyone want to guess? What does it look like? Chicken wing. It's vegan. So this is a vegan chicken wing. And this guy, Biff, the company's called Biff's Jack Shack. So last March, he didn't have a street food business. And this is a great success story of someone that's coming to Kerb. He came to our workshop last March with an idea. Within a month, he'd set up his business. He went through our incubator scheme. He then traded at living on the veg, and everyone picked up on this. And you'll see why when I tell you a bit more about the dish. He was featured in The Guardian. He's now got a restaurant within 12 months, all self-funded, of turning up at one of our workshops. So this is a vegan chicken wing, and it's incredible. So I think that these presentations are going to be shared, so don't feel like you have to read all of this. There's quite a lot of words. But Jack wasn't a vegan. His girlfriend was, and convinced him to convert to veganism. He hated vegan food. He thought it was rubbish. He really wanted to create some amazing vegan junk food. He craved the junk food he used to have with a beer when he wasn't a vegan, and his favourite thing was a chicken wing. So he came up with the concept to create chicken wings. It's made out of jackfruit. I don't know if anyone has worked with jackfruit. It's incredible. A lot of our vegan traders use jackfruit. It's different to like seitan that a lot of people use, and it has an incredible texture, like a pulled meat. So he worked with the jackfruit to create a pulled chicken. He then worked out how to give it kind of the texture of a chicken wing using panko breadcrumbs. And then the most amazing thing about this is it has a bone. So they have a sugarcane bone in the middle of this chicken wing. So you bite into it and you're like, this is incredible. It really is incredible. I can't rave about it highly enough. But then you get a bone. You're like, how is this possible? And you can actually chew the bone because it's sugarcane, so you get like a sweet aftertaste. And it's an incredible dish. He has made a huge success for himself. It's incredibly innovative. There are lots of people copying him now, but he was the first. And we gave him a platform to just have some fun and be creative. And that's what we're all about. That's what we're looking for now. So the next trader, this is someone that's on our incubator scheme right now, and this is Oshiyatai. This is the dish, and this is their incredible stall. And they're a husband and wife team. He was an engineer. She was a graphic designer. They went traveling in Japan. And like most people, they thought that Japanese food was sushi and ramen and those kind of things. And their dish, I'll say it wrong, okonomiyaki, is actually a Japanese kind of beer food. It's made for Western palates, but to go with alcohol, and it's a pancake. So they weren't as creative as Biff, but they found something through traveling, came back and put their own twist on it. So I think the really interesting about this is they source everything from within 10 miles of their house. So they get chicken from her dad, eggs from her dad, flour from a local mill. Everything they can is sourced locally, and then they've built their yatai themselves, and this is kind of a traditional kind of Japanese hut. And it's a really incredible experience, very different when you go to a street food market and you can do what most people do, buy your lunch and take it back to your desk. You can sit up at the counter and enjoy it. I had it last week. It doesn't look like much in the picture, but it's absolutely delicious. And as far as I know, no one else really doing it at the moment.
Is that in the UK?
Yeah. They all are, sorry. And then this is another one. So this is also someone who's on our incubator scheme at the moment. So burgers, people used to think street food, fried chicken, burgers. And actually last year we didn't have very many burgers because the couple that we did had graduated and gone off to open restaurant chains. And we needed burgers because our private event clients really wanted burgers. So we went out to find some really new, exciting burgers. And this is the Zephyr burger. And it's absolutely delicious. It is a pork patty, a pure pork patty with a fried egg, avocado, and some amazing cheese. It's just it's slightly different, but it's delicious. It tastes a bit fresher. It's a bit creative. And again, these guys were in LA, and they saw the LA's food trucks doing this kind of food. So this is kind of an LA burger. Were really inspired by it, had proper jobs, came back to London, and were like, this is what we're going to do, and set up this business doing these incredible sandwiches. And they saw, again, food provenance is quite a big thing with Kerb. Where we like to know where everyone gets everything from, and they get their meat from Ginger Pig, and you can tell. It's one of the best butchers in London, incredible meat. He was telling me he'd messed around with ages with different butchers to find the right one, and when they got this, they really knew they nailed it. And it's more expensive, but it's high quality. So these are 3 examples of really great, innovative dishes that have come through Kerb, and that's, if you have a look at our website, there's the 90 traders all listed. A lot of them are quite unexpected, and we're giving people a platform to be creative, to come into our markets, have a go, and then go on to whatever they want next. And we're not naive. Some of these people want a fast track to a restaurant empire, and that's fine. You know, there's investors sniffing around our markets the whole time looking for what's next, what's next, what's next. And often they find it there. But we also need to make space for the next generation. So they kind of do us a favour when that happens, because we might end up taking 12 new traders every quarter. We've got to make room for them. So we quite like it when people graduate and go on to something else, and we have to say goodbye to them. So that's three of our traders. What's next for street food? So, I mean, this is food in general. I spoke at a property conference a couple of weeks ago about this subject, because this concept is disrupting the way people eat and the whole restaurant industry. Food halls. So this is a very famous one that lots of people talk about in Lisbon. It's the Time Out Market, but they are everywhere. I went to Copenhagen and Malmo last year to have a look. They've got incredible food halls everywhere. Obviously this in Lisbon was in New York last year. They have incredible street food halls in New York, and there's about 10 opening in London this year. So there's a big company called Food Market Halls who have bought 3 huge properties in London, including the old BHS on Oxford Street. So if anyone's ever been shopping on Oxford Street, it's a huge department store that's going to be converted into a market hall with street food stalls, produce, etc., etc. And this is disrupting the kind of commercial property sector for restaurants, because what things like this give you is a more accessible way to trade. So historically, if you want a restaurant, you've got to put down a rent deposit, you know, you've got to pay stamp duty on your lease, you've got to invest in all the capex, in the extraction, in decorating your stall, in marketing. But these people do it all for you. You know, you walk into a shell, there's extraction there, you pay a month's rent deposit, and you've effectively got a restaurant, like what we've done in Camden, at a fraction of the cost. So why take that risk? Why borrow that money? And these are, there's no doubt, these are the future. They're here to stay. As I said, there's 10 we know of opening in London this year. We're quite keen to open one ourselves. We're not shy admitting that, but we want a certain thing. But this is kind of where street food's going. It's partly kind of the legitimisation of street food. It's going to give all these guys a platform to go onto without risking their business or giving up control of their business. And I think it's great. I think we'll eat a lot more exciting food. When you go to this, you get a lot more variety, and it's a good thing, and it's here to stay. I think restaurants are going to have to be a lot more innovative to keep their market share. And then this is a huge factor for us and all restaurants. So Deliveroo are huge, where we are in London at the moment, really, really affecting the restaurant scene. You know, whether you believe that people don't go out anymore because of Deliveroo, I don't subscribe to that. I go out because I want an experience, and you can't get that in your own home. But they are encroaching in other areas, and they have dark kitchens now in London where they cook dishes without a restaurant, and they're using street food traders a lot for that. So several of our traders are in dark kitchens for Deliveroo already. And that has a knock-on effect for us, because they don't want to trade at our markets and set up a gazebo and get cold when they can be in this kitchen that Deliveroo have provided for them and just send out deliveries all day long with no risk, with Deliveroo's marketing platform as well. So this is a threat, but also an opportunity. People can do their own versions of this. You know, it's an opportunity for our traders, and ultimately as a membership organisation, we want our traders to thrive. But it's something we have to be aware of. And you know, I read an article last week about Deliveroo starting to create fake brands and creating brands that don't exist just for delivery. You know, why do they need a restaurant when they can make 80% on their own brand? So who knows what will happen there. And then, does anyone know what this dish is? Any idea? Be quite a long shot. So this is the world's first Michelin star street food dish. Has anyone heard about this? So this is in Singapore. It's a guy called Hawker Chan. This is him. And there's 2 now. There's someone in Hong Kong as well, but he was the first. So he's got a stall in a big hawker market in Singapore selling soy chicken, rice, cucumber and peanuts. That's it. And it has a Michelin star. And he came to trade with us a couple of months ago. Singapore Airlines paid for it as an experiential marketing piece. He did 300 portions a day. This is the queue. People queued from 7:45 in the morning for some chicken. It snaked around the whole of Granary Square back up here to Waitrose. We were telling people from here backwards, you're not going to get any food, and they still queued all day. It was thank God it was nice weather. It was a phenomenon. Why is that interesting? Again, it's the legitimisation of street food. You know, if he's got a Michelin star and the lady in Hong Kong's got a Michelin star, why can't our traders get that? And I actually think we've got traders with better food than his dish. I genuinely do. So that's what this was a great platform for us, obviously because of the queues and the exposure and everything else, but also for our traders to see. So we actually did the food ourselves. He turned up and chopped it up, but we did the food. So some of our traders got to work with him, work in his stall, and really get inspired by that. And as I said, we've got better food than that, and hopefully one day one of our traders will get a Michelin star. That's the ambition, and that just kind of proves the theory that this whole street food scene is here to stay. I'll leave you with this. What's next for street food? Why do people want street food? I think it's these four main things: innovation, excitement, variety, and experience. You know, particularly in London, in drab winter, things aren't going so well. The economy's a bit shit. You know, you want to be excited. You want to get something a bit different. You want to be woken up. You want to have a vegan chicken wing with a bone in it, or a Californian burger, or an oshiyatai. What even is that? It's exciting, and that's what we try and create to thrive. Innovation, excitement, variety, and an experience through everything we do, whether it's a corporate event, a market, or our festival. This is what you can expect, and that is it. Thank you very much.